Hi, Hickler Church family. We have come together to talk about personal ministries for this year. So Alan is our personal ministries leader and Ore and I are on the team. And so we thought we would take the opportunity to create a video just where we're talking about the philosophy, the reasons that the personal ministries program is going to be like it is this year. And so just to start us off, Alan, I wanted to ask you the question, what is personal ministries? Because I was virtually grew up in the church. I still had no idea what it meant when I was an adult. So how would you define it?
All right. I think in order for us to understand it is to understand the two words, personal and ministry. Okay, before I come to the definition or the underlying definitions of those two co-joined terms, is maybe to look at the history of our church. Prior to the formation of the Adventist church, there were different churches. And during that time, the idea was we have the clergy, which is the preachers and the elders and the deacons. And then we have the lay people that just sit in the pew, don't do anything. Yeah. So even before the Dark Ages, if you remember, like even there were people that were allowed to touch the Bible. The rest of them, you just listen to it. You don't even touch it. Yeah. So it's not only unique to Adventist churches. I think the Methodist Church of America during that time were also going into the expansion in America, and they were looking at how best to equip, to empower people, for them to actually form companies. By companies, it's like when we have Hinkler Church, we also have little units that are, attached to the church, but they are not necessarily, they can actually have their own Sabbath school, their own program. So these were not led by the minister. The minister would actually visit there. The lay people were doing it. And most of the things they were doing, they were called lay activities. This is, when we come to the 20th century, we changed that to personal ministries.
I thought lay activity was when you...
when you treat it like the afternoon sleep, do they?
That's all right. So personal and ministry. Personal, what it means, quote me for this. What it means is like, this is my being, who I am. Okay? I wake up, I pray, I have a shower, eat my breakfast, brush my teeth, go for a walk. That's me before I go to work. Right? So this is who I am. All right. So in order, if we look at maybe community friends or, people that actually do things together, it's like, if I go out in the morning and then I meet somebody who is also doing the morning walks. Hello, good morning. Next day, hello, good morning. The third day, by the way, I see you every day. What's your name? So the next day, can we do the walk together? A friendship is formed. Okay. And then the next time, probably another person would also say, like, I see you guys just doing this, can I join in? Then you go 3. Okay. And out of those 3, maybe one of them, they know another friend, maybe from work or, another community member. Say, look, this is what we do. We do morning walks. Do you want to join us? Now we've got 4. So this is how the communities, they grow, the friendship circles grow. So this is just me. Okay. So when we are talking about the ministry, is now transferring my being to someone else. Yeah.
That provides you an opportunity, right? When you're in those kind of relationships or in those groups,
yes,
you're rubbing up against a bunch of people who look nothing like you.
Yes.
They are with you because of proximity and common interest, but they don't know Jesus, or may not know Jesus the same way that you do, and so you've got the opportunity then. They'll see what it looks like. You're not going to them and knocking on their door and saying, you have to think what I think. They have an organic opportunity to see the benefits and the beauty of what a Christian life looks like, right?
And the advantage we have is that we follow God. We follow the man who created, the man who died for our sin. We have a better hope. I can rest assure you that the next person you meet, they got a lot of questions. Well, there are certain things in their lives that cannot be answered by science, by politics, by money. They have to be answered by spiritual. It's a spiritual void that need God to fill that void. Okay, I'm in a better position because I already have that understanding. So influence to me is like, if I come to Banderbeck my first time, right? And it's either the first person I'm gonna meet, they're gonna adapt my way of life from where I came from, because I'm more powerful than them. Or if they are so convincing, You know, they can tell me like, look, like we got bandit drinks, we got this and that. I will go and make a tour with you. You know, show you what Bundaberg is.
Yeah.
Then I am also part of that community. The next person who is coming, I'm going to show them the same things.
Yeah.
It could be the reverse. If no one inducts me into the things that makes Bundaberg, I'm going to show them where I come from because that's the only thing I know. Yeah. So influence is when the person who is in a better position exposes themselves to a person who's got questions. And that a person learns from it. You know, there are two ways people learn about Christianity, and I tell you, like, one of them is more effective than the other. One of them is like, you know, you take your friend to church, the preacher preaches, the person reads the Bible, say, oh, yeah, there could be some elements of truth there. They underline the Bible, they go home, they rely on that thing. It could answer their questions, it could ask a lot of questions, it could just tickle their conviction. The second way is like when, you know, that person who is now connected to the Bible is associated now with Ore. You know, and Ore has got a way of life that is much better than they were doing. You know, he doesn't smoke, he eats better. You know, he doesn't scream to his children. You don't have children.
Play basketball.
Play basketball. You know, things like that. And, you know, they start learning that. That's influence. Influence when the person who is got questions, who's got, you know, discrepancies in their way of life, learn from you, you know. And then, you know, that's part of ministry, because ministry is when I minister the word of Christ to someone else. Now, there are two examples that are too powerful. Jesus himself, the way he did things. Yeah. He preached, he fed people. He, like, you know, he was a friend of those sisters, Mary and Martha. You know, he was the person who spoke to Mary Magdalene, also the other Mary at the well. You know, that's Jesus with Levi. You know, he went feasting with them. What was he doing there? You know, he was using his power, his authority to reach out to people where they are. You know, and making that influence. You know, without having to take them to the synagogue to preach to them. You know, he did great things by just giving the people bread and fish. You know, so that's
it's so simple, isn't it? Like just what you're saying, it just keeps striking me how simple it is. Like we tend to think. I'm sure for, like, you know, we're talking to our church family, right? Like, I'm sure we've had a number of programs at our church where, you know, like, learn how to witness to other people, and they are valuable. There's nothing wrong with those programs, but a lot of people feel like it's pressure on them. It's like, oh, well, I've got to say the right thing, and I don't want to waste the opportunity and all the rest of it. Whereas what you're describing is much more like, no, you're just actually
organic.
doing, it's organic. You're actually just doing life with those people, and looking for opportunities. And when the opportunity's there, you can take it because you don't have to engineer the opportunity because you're with them, you're spending time with them, and so there's going to be an opportunity. It's a case of just when it shows up. Right?
And I think that's the thing. I think a lot of us, I know I can only speak for myself, like I can be quite impatient. You know, I want that opportunity to happen on the second time we meet. I want, like, you know, let's say, like, you know, start a basketball club and like we're just having an awesome time. I want the next time we hang out together, you know, what's the mark of the beast? You know, like in my mind, that's my dream, right? But in reality, it's not like that. Like it takes time.
It takes time.
I think I can become impatient. You know,
and the beautiful thing, because you look at Jesus himself, he didn't go to people and just feed them the word. He answered questions. You know, so people brought their problems or their questions. Nicodemus by night. You know, and we quote John 3 verse 16 most of the time. We don't know where it came from. That's where it comes from. You know, so he comes by night because he was a man of authority. You know, his dignity would not allow him to just go to a rabbi by day. So he came by night, and he say, "What can I do to be born again?" And that's where Jesus answered, and we have that verse, John 3 verse 16. From that, it's answering a question. What can an important person like me, who is now void inside, to be saved, you know?
And this is, I think, one of the problems. We tend to specialize in answering questions that no one is asking.
Writing scripts.
Writing scripts. So say X, Y, and Z, and it will result in a baptism. Whereas, really, you just highlighted it. It was so clear when you were just saying that we need to be answering the questions that they're actually asking. And how do we know what they're actually asking?
We association.
That's right. You associate with them like Jesus did. He didn't answer their questions because, you know, he was like coming straight into their life and answering questions. He was answering their questions because they were asking them. He was there.
Look at Jesus when he gave the commission. Matthew chapter 20. They say, "Go ye therefore and preach." But he commissioned them in pairs, you know, to do that. And he gave them a specific instruction: start from Jerusalem. Yeah.
Okay.
And that message also echoes from the sealing of the people in the book of Ezekiel. You know, I say like start from the house of of Israel in Jerusalem, seal them. You know, so why is he doing that? Starting from Jerusalem, pairing these people, start from Jerusalem, then just go to Judea. Why is he saying that? Because I think sometimes we take for granted that the three of us sitting here, we are Adventists maybe for a long time, different length of period. We take for granted that we have the same school of thought, we got the same belief, but no, it's not. The only way where we can actually share our beliefs is when we start sharing. Yeah? When we start sharing. So the beauty about personal ministries is something that the minister will struggle to do because it's only one person. Okay? And the elders cannot do because maybe we've got 2 or 3. But people, if the people in the pews are empowered, you know, if they're empowered, then they can actually reach out to each other. Proverbs says, that's one of the wisest persons is in Solomon, he says, you know, like an iron sharpening another iron. Yeah, so it's one man to another. So what does it mean? It takes one of a kind to actually reach out to another person. Because then what happens? Because one good example is mothers. They meet in parks. My child cries all night. And now mine, what I do, I feed them around this, I read them books, it calms them. You know, and then they sleep all night, I don't even turn. Okay, so what kind of books do you read? You know, this is the books. Like I will bring, like I think in my shelf, I still one book that, you know, my son used to enjoy. He's now outgrew it, so I can share it with you.
Opportunity.
That's an opportunity. You know what I mean? That's an opportunity. So that's how it is. You know, we were talking about the first person. The second person is Paul. You know, Paul is one out of all the characters, you know, the figures of faith in the Bible. I think I appreciate Paul because most of his, you know, the epistles were written in prison. You know, he is the person who shared his life in order for the gospel to reach to me. You know, because if I was in prison, that's my life shot. I'll wait until I'm out. You know, but he did not wait. He wrote some of the strongest epistles in prison. You know, and
if
then
he hadn't been in prison, he may not have written so much, and so he would have felt like he was doing more ministry because he was out of prison. But how would that have affected the scriptures, right? How would that have affected what we know about God today?
Yes. And 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8. Mark this verse. Because it says, I love you so much. He's talking to the church at Thessalonica. I love you so much, you know, because of the things we are doing together. Not only that we shared the gospel with you, but we shared our lives. What does that mean? So it's not only to share the Sabbath word, you know, the state of the dead, you know, the second advent of Christ, but also to share my being. And Paul goes on to say, imitate me, because I imitate Christ. You know, what does imitating mean? It means you observe, you copy. You know, you don't imitate by listening. You imitate by being an apprentice of the person. So it's like I am an example. So it takes me, you know, to learn who Christ is and to allow Christ to transform me. Then I can reach to somebody else. That's why we say like everything we are doing. Can I give an example of like, you know, where I, like, you know, the churches I've attended? I've attended it. Like I've been in personal ministries for many years. I have seen people setting up a ministries in cooking vegetarian food. No, vegetarian food is yucky. It's only chunks and beans, and you know, my kids won't eat. My kids are becoming skinnier because they don't like that kind of food. You know, and somebody say like, look, I can actually help you to cook some delicious vegetarian food. So you bring a friend and they do that, you know, they share their cookery books, and then there is now a good big club that is having like good delicious vegetarian meals that can actually come for a church luncheon. That's a ministry. That's a ministry. Because most of the time I think when we're talking about ministries, I'm thinking like, you know, as we were saying, I need to share about, Daniel, you know, the prophetic message so that they can get baptized. But listen to what Paul says when they say, like, look, there is an Apollo, you know, baptizing people up the road. And they say, look, let them do that. Because if they are doing that to Christ, that's fine. Because some person can just sow the seed. They move on. Some other person will water that seed. The other person will come and harvest.
This is faith activity, right? Like, because the desire for us to see the entire process, and I can resonate with that. Like, I think as Christians, we all want to see the whole process. We all want to plant the seed, water the seed, and then baptize the seed, right? Like, we all want to do that. But the that experience is actually, in some ways, it's demonstrating a lack of faith in God's ability to lead that person.
Yes.
And I think that if we realize that, we would be more likely to take action in faith, that God is going to do that, be the overseer of that process, and it doesn't have to be us doing it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think there was one of our church members who was talking about a part of a ministry they are doing with young people. So they were doing things that were young people, they like it. But at some stage, you feel like, there are some individuals among that group that have got other powerful potential that you cannot fulfill. What do? You are stuck, But why are we stuck when we have a large community of the congregation, So I think the best way, if the church, comes, me as an individual, reach out to everybody else, and everyone knows what everyone else is doing. Easier said than done. But if I know that, Luke and the gang, they have, their table talk, and I know somebody else who can actually have a powerful, conversation.
Yeah.
And I'll say, look, would you want maybe look at that?
Yeah.
Would you want to interview that person?
Yeah.
And by interviewing that person is actually reaching out to a lot of other people. We are using one person, ministry, to get one person to actually do it. So by doing that, he's actually creating something bigger than himself, because that message is not his, but it's his platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if we do understand that, look, my role there, that's why I think Paul is talking about us as the church as, different parts of the body.
Yeah.
Each part of the body is very important. It may look passive, my little pinky, but it's got a purpose. My little, toe there, you remove it, I don't have balance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are certain people that actually have value. I think a couple weeks ago, we were talking about Barnabas.
Yeah.
What do we know about Barnabas? Nothing much except that he was an encourager.
Yeah.
And we know we have Paul, and we have been talking about Paul because of Barnabas.
Yeah.
If Barnabas was out of the question, there would be no Paul.
Yes.
If Barnabas was out of the question, the dispute between Mark and Paul would have been serious.
Yeah.
If Barnabas was out of the question, Peter would be stuck in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
But Barnabas was there to just say, remember, we are brothers.
Yeah.
We are brothers. So by doing that, you can actually find he created something that was bigger than that. Because now when we're talking about Paul, we're not talking about Barnabas. But Barnabas was a pillar for Paul to start the ministry, because he wouldn't even join the disciples at all. They were scared, So my role, in the church is to be fed, to grow, and also to feed the other people, And when I feed the other people, the person that I'm feeding is also feeding the other person, So I am the church, but also it's our church.
Yes.
Yeah. So the church is no longer the address, at Hinkler, but the church
the building is enabling, but it's irrelevant to the church itself. Right?
Yeah. Yes. And then it also means that if I am the church and it's our church, is it only the 2 hours we are at church? Yeah. Or is it now my lifestyle every day? Yeah. So you find by doing that, the advantages we're having there is that we no longer have lonely people. Yeah. Because if I'm struggling with family life, for example, and there are certain people that actually working around that, I now can join that community. If my problem is fitness, and I have a few young people that are playing basketball, and I join that group, now I have a community. Yeah? And then I have my friends coming in. I don't have to know. Because this is why 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8 is very important. Because most of the time we think I need to know to connect. No. I just need to reach out to that person. And extend them to another person. That person does the great thing. I'm just a mediator. I'm a Barnabas here.
But that's still ministry, right?
That's
being able
ministry.
to connect one person to what they need. So, and I think we've done a really good job talking about the philosophy of that. And I think the people in our church, I'm sure they're connecting the dots here. But really, that's that's what we want to see happen in our church, right? We're not coming in as the personal ministries team and saying, oh, here is a phone that's ringing that Aure's going to turn off. we're not coming in saying, okay, we're going to run a Daniel 2 seminar and, you know, everyone has to show up and everyone has to bring a person. Like that's sure, that is a part of ministry. I'm not devaluing that, but what I think we really want to see as a personal ministries team, what we want to do is to be able to connect those dots, to be the people that say, well, this person over here has a real passion for, you know, cooking delicious and healthy food. Then, okay, here's 4 other people who need to know that. And let's connect those people together. And so our job is hopefully to be able to connect the people that are doing the things.
Yes.
Because I'm confident that there's people in church right now who are doing ministry that we don't know about. Right? It's quite likely that there are people in the pews doing stuff, and because they don't think of it as ministry, perhaps even they're not even mentioning it as such. But I guess we're encouraging think about it that way. And if you are doing that, make it known to the church family so people can say, hey, you know, if you're really into this thing and I'm really into this thing, like let's get together. Are you into photography? You know, start people get together and go down the beach and take photos or whatever it might be. But if we start creating those small communities of interest, then it's more opportunity for the gospel to be seen, for the light to actually be seen in the community, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
One good example is like when they were building the temple, right? And one of the instructions that struck my mind with the first time I read about it is like where they said, go and find the cutters of timber, the carpenters, you know, and the builders who are filled, you know, with the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
Why? You know, you just imagine, do you need somebody who cut the grass, who's spirit filled?
I've seen a few bricklayers, and I don't get the striking impression that the prerequisite is to be filled with the Holy Spirit.
but it is important because what it's saying there is because there are people that actually using skills of the hands. They are just as important as the person who actually sings the hymns, or just as important as the elder who visits the sick. They are just as important. Now, if people that actually because there was a time when we were moving some furniture in the hall at the church, and only a certain group of people came, and you would expect those people to come because they are people coming from the industry. Yeah. So they knew, when they knew, they just measure this. Let's cut this one here. This one here won't work inside. So let's measure this one. This one here we need to do it inside because otherwise it will have. Here is a group of people that actually are skilled in one thing, doing something here. No face was open. But then what happens is sometimes when we have now people coming in to actually help, is that connection that you need, and as we said before, because sometimes our burden is not for us to baptize them there, but to connect them to the wider community where they can actually learn. But one thing that I knew, there was a group of 3 men that were working on one board of timber, and somebody started talking about an injury. Yeah. Somebody solved that problem straight away there by telling them what they needed to do. That's what we ministry. Are talking about. That's ministry. You know what I mean? So there is quite a number of things because we need that connection of members, so that at least it's holistic. It's not only the message that we get from 11 to 12, but also how do I raise my children? The best books I need to read for me to calm down my temper. How to deal with my mental health. How to be fit. Crocheting, walking in the morning. Those kind of things.
Makes the gospel sound so holistic when you put it that way.
It is.
Which is one of the core principles that what we believe as a church, right? That God cares about the whole person. It's not just we have this spiritual life that's valuable and then the physical and everything and mental is irrelevant. It's a holistic gospel. And so why aren't we doing ministry that way?
Yeah. I think your question was saying so what can we do?
Yeah.
So I think the number one, we already have people doing things. We've got people that are visiting the elderly in the care homes. We've got young groups. We've got people, the men groups. We've got people that are meeting midweek. Those are the people that are already doing an important aspect of the ministry. Okay. What we need is once we have this philosophy that we're talking about, is to have an exposure of these units that are already in operation, so that people that are actually looking for something that can actually fill their void can join in. Starting from the people in the church, start in Jerusalem. So then if I get edified by something and I know somebody, I'm going to bring them in. Now one person is added. If that one person add another person, we got double the church, So, like, I think what we need is to actually sort of empower people in their space, and to make sure the things they do, and they are just so like, we are, going and, dropping some food to some friends. I know some people that actually do it, and they may not even consider that a ministry. But we want them to understand that they are part of this church, and what they are doing is a face of the church. So once they do that, then we can actually have one or two people that may actually say, look, I think I also know another shop that could give us some cans of beans, and I can join the group. And those people, once they have a group, and they may actually go and find another lady who actually is a recipient of that food, and then they say, like, look, thank you for the food, but my son has just given me problems. They may not solve that problem, but they know somebody who can solve that problem. So that's how it works. It just makes it with the activities we are doing, because I woke up, it is my identity, this is what I do every day, and I have a community of people that I do these things with. So whatever I am doing, the people I am reaching to, I can also extend. The pastor will be very busy baptizing people.
And so I guess to put a fine point on it, anybody that in the church who is doing ministry, even if they don't necessarily think of it as ministry, tell one of us, because we want to shine a light on what those people are doing, not because we want to make them, bring them up front and make them feel uncomfortable. What we want to do is we want to know what they're doing, so we can say, okay, well, if anybody else is interested in this, here, join them, or here's how you can learn how to do it, or whatever it might be. So if you are engaged in ministry yourself, or someone who is and isn't likely to tell someone else about it, share that knowledge around the church, but particularly with us, because we want to be able to highlight those people and those ministries so people can do more of it. So, sorry.
Yeah, I really like this concept of having communities of interest that we're building here, and bringing them to the fore. It's, bringing it to the simmer. I feel like, I guess, like, sometimes I just wonder, like, is there a place for, while this is happening organically, that there's also a bit of like training and stuff as well to bring them from point A to point B? Because I think, and I know sometimes that maybe I get sometimes petrified with, is I feel like as much as I see the value in seed sowing or even like friendship evangelism, sometimes I long to kind of bring them to that next level. But like maybe because of lack of experience, I don't know how to do that. And even if it's like, people are involved in a crochet group or cycling group or basketball group, you've developed these amazing connections, which is all well and good, but like, is that enough? Is that can God just take it from there, or do we have a role to play into which might require a bit of training to bring them to that next level? And does us as a personal ministries group, can we supply that need or that gap if it needs to be supplied?
There are many ways that we can do that. I think the church has got a lot of resources. The most basic one being the church manual. Then there are the personal ministries manuals. There are some resources that are specific to specific activities. All those resources are there. But for me, that's not what is important.
Sure.
What is important for me is, like, if, for example, you find a lot of young people that say, look, like, you have just opened your eyes. We were about to go to Hillsong. Because the reason why we're going to Hillsong is because they do music. We don't have any opportunity to do music in church. And we say, like, no, look, young people, bring your music. Let's give you the platform. Okay? They say, you've got a group of 5 people. But who can train us? And then I know you already, that you love music, and then you come and train these young people. Then they present 5 beautiful church pieces in the church. We have started. Because I think the most basic training is the mentorship. We have people that have been there, they are getting out, and they are going out with all their knowledge. Joshua was left with that task. Moses was the leader, and he had Joshua under his wing for a time. And then when Moses was said, like, look, go up to the mountain and die. He went there and died. Joshua had to become the leader. So he crossed the Jordan. The problem now, he knew he was going to be confronted by fighting. He got 2 problems here. Number one, all the peoples he has, they were born in the wilderness. They're young people, not circumcised, which means they cannot fight in the army. Number one. Number 2, the essence of their message all throughout the desert was saying, like, God took us out of Egypt. These young people were born in the wilderness. The story of Egypt is not their story. It's the story of their parents.
Yeah.
It's vague. Their problem is like no food, no water is here.
Yeah.
You know, so Joshua had actually to induct these young people, starting from circumcising them, you know, into training them, you know, before he setting them off as warriors, you know. So this is what sometimes that we need to understand, that sometimes the mentorship is the most basic thing. So like, you know, I just gave you like one good example. There's quite a number of things. You can actually find people that love speaking. And I go to schools where our students are getting prizes for public speaking. They get prizes for a lot of other things. They got no role in churches.
Yeah.
What a loss.
Yeah, why not? That's right.
Why not? Let's give them roles in church, in the church, and get the people that are now gray, tired, and retiring to mentor them. You know, so that at least we now have a core of leadership for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the activities. That's personal ministries. Yeah. So it's something like that, because then once we do that, and then if there is a need, now we have a group of people that want to do some independent, you know, crusades out there. And then they need shaping. The minister is there, the pastor is there to shape them. The resources are there. We can buy those resources to say, like, no, look, use this equipment, go here, and be fruitful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. No, that's great. Well, is there anything else, like from your perspective, anything else we need to say or tell the church family before we close?
I'll start, and I think everyone of us should say something. But I think the basic thing is like, let's start somewhere.
Yeah.
So my encouragement to everyone at church is that whatever we are doing, from the moment we wake up, you know, your whole being committed to Christ, whatever you are doing. So we want our church to be transformed from the core unit of my personal activities. We want those activities to form friendships, because if I'm doing crocheting and I find a lot of other 5 women in the church that are also doing crocheting, we are going to solve a marriage problem by doing that. And once we have those groups, you know, there's quite a number of things we may not be able to solve. That's not our burden. You know, you can pass, you know, them to other people that we have. So like, we need to work together, you know, from our individual, working with our children and wives at home, with our friends, you know, coming to, you know, how we interact in church. Then we can look at how we can actually extend to the outside community. I may not have the knowledge, I may not have a good comprehension of the Bible. There is someone in church who has got that.
Yeah.
You know, you might find somebody who wants to learn a guitar. I may not have that skill. I have a connection with somebody in church who can do it. So let's the church become our reference point. Because at the moment, if you come to me, probably I know a lot of other people in the community, but not in the church.
Yeah.
They are already in the church. So my first encouragement is like, let's all come out. Starting, we are doing monthly Vespers programs. They are very important. It's only once a month that we all come out. You know, at sunset, we come together. No one is going to preach. We are just going to share the things we've been doing the entire month, you know, and share the beauty of those things, the experiences, what we can learn, make sure we can exchange members, build friendships, and learn from each other and expand what we are doing. So starting from basic things like coming to that, to those Vespers programs once a month, let's start from there, and then we can expose each other, we can learn from each other, sharpen each other, and we can see what the Lord is doing, He has got in store for us.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And just to echo the point of Vespers, I think whatever you highlight, whatever you put on display is typically, it's like watering it, right? Like in any kind of a community, the things that you highlight are the things that grow. Yep. And so the purpose of Vespers is not just to come together in fellowship, which is wonderful. It is to highlight ministry, right? So we can see what people are doing, and that's going to give everybody their opportunities to, well, hey, this person's doing that. Like Ora is you know, doing this basketball thing. Let's get behind that. Or, you know, Alan has this great idea that people can get behind. Like, if we have that forum to shine light on those people, that's going to allow it to grow. And so it's really important that as many of the church get there as possible, because if we don't get around those sort of events, then it limits our effectiveness, because then we just don't know what's going on. So yeah, strongly advise everybody, if possible, to make it along to Vespers. So well, just before we wrap that, anything from you, Ore?
Oh, I mean, nothing new, but other than just to encourage people to not to think whatever ministry you're involved in, don't downplay it at all. Like, don't, you know, they're all valuable. They all forms part of the whole whole web and whole goal of what we're trying to do. So yeah, just encourage you guys to keep doing it.
That's it.
Not
Two,
giving
so
up.
2 things.
Yep.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it's what we do. It's lifestyle.
Yeah.
What we do, regardless of if I am doing that, from where I wake up, when I wake up to when I sleep, that's my lifestyle. So that's number one. Number two, we are a part of an organized church. So we share my being with everyone else. I think the bottom line, that's what it means.
Simple.
Yeah.
It's much more simple than many make it.
Yes.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for watching this video, being with us. We look forward to seeing you next week at church. But until then, God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.